Dennis, a lot of those chunks, early divots, those can be explained by how you rotate in the backswing. So essentially there's three motions that you do in the backswing. The first one is turning, right? So rotation. The next one is tilting or bending to the side. And then the last one is extending your spine. So if I start in this inclination to the ground, extending my spine would look like me just basically getting as tall as I possibly can. That's the extending of the spine. So I think that you do the turning very well. The tilting and extending is where you really have some trouble. So this club is going to swing on an arc, okay? There's the radius of this arc is depending on how long the club is, how long your arms are. If you're bending your arms, you're making the club shorter, stuff like that. So I would classify your backswing as something that would cramp the radius, okay? So if I have this club on the ground and I start with a natural inclination to the ground, the more I move the center of my chest down, the less room that I have to swing this club. This is why you get a lot of those chunks, a lot of those early divots. When you swing back, you cramp the radius by keeping your spine in that inclination. So what you swing, what it looks like is something like this. Okay, so your upper body has moved back, but it's also stayed in that forward flexion. So I'm going to start with, an inclination to the ground. Let's call it 40 degrees for ease of use here. You tend to stay in that 40 degrees instead of rotating and extending your spine. So now I'm not cramping the radius. The radius is intact because of how I extended my spine. So for you, a really good cue for lefty, so you need to take your left shoulder blade and you need to take that and it needs to work up and towards the target. So you need to feel like when you swing back, you're rotating, but your left shoulder blade is moving towards the target a lot, and that's going to get you to extend your spine instead of keeping it super flexed like this. So really good start for you would be to get your left shoulder blade, so behind you, moving more towards the target. That's going to get you to extend your spine, and that'll allow for some lifting of the arms. Lifting of the arms is good for you. You keep them too low. You keep them too low with the club too steep. So when you do the extending, you can lift your arms and roll them a little bit.